there's people in all these cars. The mangled, evolved remains of humans.
Ask about Illuminati, since the chart in the upbeat ducks. Is it Disney mind control? Is this MK Ultra Deluxe? I go Disney, we go from real to real. I go Disney, Bohemian Grove and no more real. I go Disney, ask about Illuminati. I go Disney, we teach a code to everybody. I go Disney, the wish upon a star. I go Disney, you know not to Jafar. Oh, I go Disney, the new brand Pinocchio. Yeah, yeah. I go Disney, it's a bomb so low. I go Disney, please enjoy the show.
Hello, welcome to the Occult Disney podcast, where we go driving, our bodies mangled and shoved into anamorphic cars. Isn't that our theories for the car universe? That there's people in all these cars? The mangled, evolved remains of humans.
I think this movie shows us that it's actually more like the Matrix, that we're all living in a simulation.
That could be it too. We'll find out. It's Cars 3. We're back in the Cars universe. This is Matt here. It's Paranoid American over there. How's your driving?
I'm Crazy 8 driving only now. Like whenever I go out, I only do Crazy 8 driving.
Yeah, just doing donuts. Like that's what you do at work. You go outside and then you start doing donuts in the parking lot, you know?
Can you do that in Japan? That seems like something that would get you like locked up for a considerable amount of time.
I'm sure that was a joke with one of my coworkers and myself. Like I think he had a motorcycle. It was like he wanted to get a motorcycle license. Like, I could just like start doing donuts, and we have like this little tiny parking lot. So that was his plan to do that. So that's the Crazy 8 mentality.
That's the Cars mentality, man. Everyone likes doing donuts in cars.
Yeah, I mean that whole sequence. What is it? What is it? Something Hollow, Thunder Hollow. I mean that's what we were gaming around the year 2000, right? I mean, this is not the year 2000, but I remember Twisted Metal, Carmageddon, the battle mode of San Francisco 2048. I played the hell out of those and was definitely thinking of that in this movie.
Oh, there was another one called like Vigilante 8, and there was a few other of those car battle clones that were phenomenal. Like even if it didn't have like the name brand to it, they were just as good as Twisted Metal.
Yeah, no, like I brought up the San Francisco 2048 one because that was actually our favorite one. It might have been the weapons or the strategy involved or whatever, but that was the one that really got our gander, you know?
I don't know who's behind it. It almost, at this point, it feels so mishandled that it's almost intentional. Like the Illuminati is preventing us from getting a 2026 version of Twisted Metal. What has taken 2 decades to get an updated refresh, even if it's not that particular property. Anyways, back to car. Disney could do this, right? Disney could legitimately make a good Disney-friendly Twisted Metal clone, and no one would really be able to keep up with it. Everything else is freaking Mario Kart.
Now I'm sitting here, man, did they make one for this? Let's see. Cars 3 has a video game Driven to Win. Does it involve the Thunder Hollow section?
If it were good, I feel like we would have heard about it, but who knows? Maybe it's like an undiscovered.
I'm guessing it's not good. I'm just like, did they try?
It's got like LJN on it.
It's got a battle mode. It's got a takedown mode. If they put those in Thunder Hollow, I'd say that's at least they tried, you know?
All right. Well, next we'll have to do a game review on Cars 3.
Exactly. So how'd you feel about Cars 3 after we did Cars 2?
I love the Cars series, man. I'm not gonna lie. I went in. I already mentioned this on the first one, but I went in ready to just be like, all right, let's watch a freaking toddler movie. Let's get beat over the head with. And I honestly think it's like one of the better Disney series. Like I really, really think that. And it's
with
deep.
2?
And I know, I know that you don't like 2 as much as the other ones, and I know 2 is kind of panned, but I love the spy angle. I love that they're showing them basically like infiltrating China, infiltrating Europe. They've got like sleeper cells. I don't know. I feel like it is such a unique aspect. And when you throw in the whole Pixar universe theory where these have evolved into having like a fleshy inside of human bones and nerve endings and stuff, and that's what's driving these things. I don't know. It's hard for me not to like the series, especially compared. I mean, I think we're like 80 movies deep or somewhere around that line, right? Or more. I think we're like into the hundreds now. Yeah. So if we compare Cars 3 to the other 100+ movies that we've seen so far, it's like part of the cream that's rising to the top. I don't know if it's like the top bubble, but it's definitely like in that the floaties that are going up.
I mean, I'm willing to be much nicer to this movie. The Blank Check podcast years keeps saying the phrase "Cars 2 makes Cars 3 look like Cars 1," and I was like, I wonder if that'll make sense after I watch this, and it kind of does.
What is it? Cars 2 makes Cars 3 look like Cars 1?
Yeah. If you watch 2 and then you watch this, you're like, it's like a kind of a. I assume that's what it means. This one's like, okay, here we are. It's really not as good as Cars 1, but if you watch Cars 2, it somehow seems better now.
I get it. But you know what? I don't think Cars 3 can have the same impact without Cars 2 in between them, because Cars 2 is sort of the last major story arc for Lightning McQueen. And that's the only thing that lets you feel like he is, spoiler alert, ready to retire in this Cars 3 movie. Like him retiring in Cars 2, if you had skipped the whole international spy and all that stuff, it wouldn't make as much sense. But I also feel that this is kind of what the military does where they sheep dip somebody, is where it makes it look like you retired or it makes it look like you washed out, but really you're in deeper than you ever were. So I almost feel that he's now like an insider. Like he's going to bust open some kind of gambling organization within the Cars racing universe and leak that back into like the Cars FBI or something.
Maybe, but keep in mind, remember in Cars 2, I don't even remember. I mean, I know McQueen was in that movie, but I only remember like Mater and like, German and French cars being in that movie. I don't remember McQueen being in it at all. Whereas this one barely has Mater, which is the correct decision.
Mater's the proxy. If anything, McQueen is probably the new recruit that then kind of gets Mater to become an unwitting asset for intelligence, right? So when Mater goes all over the place, he's kind of like, what's the man who knew too little or something? Like that's kind of Mater.
Yeah, okay, sure. But I think I hate Mater. So this movie having not much Mater really helped me for this.
Did you also hate Larry the Cable Guy?
I never got into Larry the Cable Guy, and I think I probably would hate Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay. Do you hate him any less or more to know that wasn't his accent at all, and that he was like a northern East Coaster, and that he just adopted that persona and stuck with it?
How about Jeff Foxworthy? Is he a real redneck?
I think so. I think Jeff Foxworthy was a real redneck.
Okay, maybe I'll give him.
And I honestly do think that Larry the Cable Guy could have converted to a real redneck, but he definitely did not start that way, or at least he could code switch his way out of being a redneck easy enough to get along in like a New Jersey stand-up club, and no one would, peg him for being a Southerner.
Yeah, it might be me coming from Atlanta, which is kind of like a little oasis of not redneck, surrounded by redneck. So that sort of thing just has like kind of a instant disappeal to me. I'm not into like heavy rednecking culture,
I guess that's where we differ a little bit. Like I'm into rednecks. I mean, I grew up in upstate New York, not like New York City. So like rednecks are kind of like what I was raised around. But like, what's Southern
the Jackass
rednecks,
crew then? Jackass crew kind of. I feel like the Jackass crew doesn't count as rednecks, but they're doing redneck stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for another episode, but it's an interesting idea of I mean, Larry the Cable Guy seems more like Jackass redneck, just maybe not hurting himself or others, but it's that same, they're appropriating redneck culture, I guess is the best way to put it.
Anyway, I like this movie because I like Owen Wilson doing McQueen a lot more, and I like Larry the Cable Guy doing Mater. So this was it does feel like this movie kind of responded to most of my criticisms about Cars 2,
I like Mater, man. I'm not going to lie about it. So
you can like Mater. That's fine. I'm just expressing my extreme distaste for Mater.
There was the one of the biggest things that stood out to me in this movie, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around why, other than maybe having good B-roll and stuff. But at the very beginning, where they show Lightning McQueen crash out and he spins around and his tire pops and like, sparks are flying, it looks like they spent just as much budget on that 10-second sequence as they did for rendering the rest of the movie. And that's not speaking down to how good this movie looks, but for some reason they dialed that realism meter all the way up to 11 for that small little sequence, which essentially is a horrific car crash, right? Like this is the version of blood and gore that you get in the Cars 3 universe. As close to it as you get is seeing scrapes and like little flashes of light and like paint peeling off the car and crumbling. So for some reason they gave this the Good Dinosaur background treatment.
Yeah, I mentioned a few Pixars ago that I do kind of feel like it's plateauing, not in a bad way, just like, these, like it used to be every Pixar movie looked twice as good as the previous one, where, I mean, this one looks pretty much as good as Monsters University, which is like 3 movies ago, right? Maybe, like you said, the scene you just mentioned has more kinetic action and they have even more lighting, Finding Dory, they're using the lighting that they just used for that now, right? Rick's integration system, which made scenes like the demolition derby race possible. But then they have the race in Monsters University, which is just as effective on film. So, you can make technological tweaks, but I do think we've kind of like hit the standard for Pixar's.
Now, I'm going to show some of my ignorance or lack of short-term / long-term memory here, but do we ever meet or hear about Lightning McQueen's parents at any point?
I don't think so.
Because
do cars have parents? Do we hear about anyone's parents?
Well, we do, because in this movie, for the first time, I think we hear about parents and lineage and upbringing, because the Cruz, who becomes the new protagonist of the Cars series, I assume. Are we on 4 yet? Or are we still just on 3?
This is 3. Oh, they have not made a 4 yet.
So this is kind of setting it up that Lightning McQueen, who's the protagonist in the first movie, who's kind of the face of Cars, he's going to retire and he's going to become the trainer, or at least he's going to step aside a little bit, but he's going to train this new car, Cruz, because she can go even faster than he can. So he kind of steps aside a little bit. Like this is his version of growing old and dying, I guess.
Yeah. In her performance, sorry, let me get the actor's name. Cristela Alonso. This seems to be a time where Disney maybe was like trying to build some up and it didn't quite take, because she did a couple voice roles around this time. She had 1 season of a sitcom, on normal TV, and but looks like her career's kind of petered out after this. So it was maybe they tried to put her up to her bat and it didn't take. I don't know.
I honestly don't get the fascination with hiring famous actors as voice actors. It makes zero sense to me. It makes negative sense to me that you would pay an actor that has a likeness, like their face likeness, and then you're only getting the voice aspect of that. Maybe it's worth something, but it just seems like you could hire anyone to do voices as long as they can just do a freaking voice well.
That's a superhero conundrum in live action movies, because you hire this actor, and superheroes or villains often have masks on. So, you get to Spider-Man 3 where Tobey Maguire barely wears a Spider-Man mask because they had to pay him so much money. Right. Like now, it's like Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play Dr. Doom. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Dr. Doom always has a mask on, or he should.
Or now he's not going to. Now it's just going to be painted. It's going to be silver face.
Right. One of the sweet spot was maybe Dredd, where they hired Carl Urban, who's a known guy, but he's not like a superstar, right? And it's okay. Judge Dredd does not take his helmet off, even though we have Carl Urban there, who did a fantastic job. Great movie. Recommend Dredd. Speaking
of, I'm ready for a live action Cars movie. How does that work? Is it
I'm sure that'll happen, because Disney makes live action versions of there's my hand quotation if you didn't see it, but Disney makes live action versions of all of their movies now. So Pixar is ripe for the picking. Live action Toy Story.
How do you
live
do
action
it though?
Cars.
Is it people dressed up as cars just running around going vroom vroom, or is it just a real car, or like how does that work?
I assume it works like the quote unquote live action Lion King, which apparently is still animated enough that it is on our list and we will be covering it. Some of the others won't. Beauty and the Beast, the or Maleficent, it still counts as live action, even though it has a lot of animation, right? The terrifying dwarves from last year's Snow White. There's that. Yeah. Do you ever see those dwarves from the live?
I am
Snow
saving
White?
it. I'm saving myself.
Those will give you nightmares. Yeah, for sure.
I'm saving myself for when the time is right.
That one's not on our list because it's still considered live action. Although, if we really want to, get sadistic with ourselves, we can watch it. But
I mean, early on, we were skipping stuff like the Reluctant Dragon and Pete's Dragon or whatever because it was half live action. And now we're like, well, if there was a few frames that had some 3D, then technically it's an animation. So
yeah, we did Enchanted. We'll do Disenchanted. So
Enchanted was actually animated in the very beginning and the very end, and in like small little clips when they go back to the cartoon world. I have absolutely no qualms with considering that one an animated movie.
Yeah. But like you said, live action Cars, what does that even mean? Is that still just an animated movie in the end,
I feel like we have to see blood and guts inside one of those cars. If it's live action, it's going to be in like a human world. They're going to get transported to a human universe, and someone's going to go and try and like steal the car and rip the door open, but it's going to be like ripping like an appendage off of someone, like ripping like a fingernail off of your finger.
You just want to watch Maximum Overdrive. That's what you want to do. You want Stephen King to scare the hell out of you. Ever seen the trailer?
I wish that I liked that movie as much as everyone says that I should.
Have you seen the trailer for it?
I don't know if I've seen the trailer. I've seen the movie itself probably 4 or 5 times easily.
Okay, that's got a mid '80s fully coked out Stephen King and narrating the trailer, and the last shot of him is him looking at you like all crazy,
Okay,
like I'm gonna scare the hell out of you. So yeah, there are multiple trailers, so make sure it's the one with Stephen King. But that's one of my favorite trailers. Like it better than the movie. So my love for Maximum Overdrive is actually mostly the trailer, not the movie.
I have high hopes that with the accessibility of AI and game engines and everything, we're not far away from someone being able to make a like open source Twisted Metal where you can fight Lightning McQueen against the Maximum Overdrive truck. Like that is in the realm of possibility in our lifetime. So I'm excited.
I haven't played Fortnite, but isn't Fortnite basically you can skin your player with like pretty much anything you want?
I guess. I don't know. It's Fortnite and Roblox and these new fandangled games with these kids. I don't really know.
No, I'll old fart along with you on that. I know some people like, oh, I got to play, like the bride from Kill Bill and then kill people that way in Fortnite. I'm like, okay, that sounds entertaining at least.
I understand that some people just like watch games instead of play them. I'm kind of that way now too. Like if a brand new game comes out, I don't want to learn all the combos and like if it looks good and it's got a good story or something, I might just watch someone play it for an hour and a half and be like, okay, now I don't have to spend $70.
No, I'm just roguelites and strategy games and puzzle games. Again, I am being mesmerized by the Tetris back there, and I'll probably be playing Tetris in my head all day now. So
good.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's called Tetris Brain.
It is. Cars Brain, I guess we'll hit here. This is one where I'm looking at production stuff here, but it's just like, hey, let's make some money. They made Cars 3, last
yeah, I mean
out,
that's the whole analogy. Like Cars 2 makes Cars 3 look like Cars. Like Cars 3, it's interesting. I don't hate it. I like this entire series, but it's kind of weak because there's like the enemy is your own self-doubt, and it's kind of a weak storyline. Just because we've seen it a million times. This is usually a B plot. The B plot is usually overcome whatever obstacle you have. But like the real A plot is like there's a badass villain that's trying to poison you or kill you, or they've kidnapped your parents, or there's some sort of Disney proxy. And this one just completely lacks the Disney proxy, and it lacks a true villain of any kind.
Yeah, it definitely came out like, oh, there's no proxy. The villain is just like a racer. There's nothing wrong with him. I mean, like maybe he's slightly arrogant, but why not?
He trash talks. Have you ever heard Michael Jordan on a hot mic on a court? Like that trash talk, but he was like the ultimate player, right? And I'm not saying that he was the villain, but like the importance of beating him would have been way more prevalent. And again, I'm going to go on a few tangents in the course of this conversation too, that I can't believe there's not a basketball, football, or baseball animated Disney movie, either hand drawn or 3D animated. The only sports movies in the entire animated Disney catalog is essentially Cars.
There is an animated Mighty Duck series, I believe.
Right. I don't know if I can say, and they have a movie. There's a Mighty Ducks, the series.
Well, those are
movie.
live action, right?
No, there's an animated movie as well for Mighty Ducks, but I don't really count that one. A, because it's hockey, which isn't a real sport, because that's Canadian and Canada is not even a real country, but also because it only exists because of the Mighty Ducks live action movie. I don't know. Maybe I'm splitting hairs here, but either way, hockey, sure. But I want to know why there's not like a baseball, football movie in the Disney universe. It seems like by now there could have been. Only explanation is just international appeal. They're trying to court China too much, but hell, baseball's starting to get big in Asia, no?
Japan loves baseball.
Does anyone else like baseball, or is it just Japan?
I think it's mostly Japan at the moment, but Japan loves baseball. You can definitely rock that here. Maybe Warner's has like the corner on the basketball market. You know, they got the Space Jams, right?
Do they anymore? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to survive. It's crazy. The first one existed, but
yeah. I'm not necessarily thinking about weird buyouts and things currently. Just in general, Warner's has had the Space Jam.
You don't have Space Jam without Michael Jordan, though. It just doesn't exist.
Okay, good point. So, but I'm just like, you're thinking animation and basketball. Most of our heads still go there, right? And
right,
thinking,
yeah, I guess that's.
If you're thinking racing, it does go to Cars.
Disney?
Disney's got the corner on this one, right? Which
and what's crazy too is at least in Orlando, they have an entire like ESPN world where they do all sorts of actual training camps. So Disney is not a stranger to professional sports and having business ties with professional sports. So it's a little bit wild. Do they really hate America that much that they only want to make things that'll sell in China?
No, I remember year 2000, 2001 going with my girlfriend's family to Disney because her younger brother was spending like a week at doing soccer. And so my girlfriend and I went to the parks while he was playing soccer. I think he got the raw end of that deal, but whatever.
It's honestly the only affordable place to get like a quick bite to eat when I was working at the park. Was that ESPN Sports Cafe, that whole like little section, because again, it's like normal people that have traveled across the country and have to be there for like a week or two for some sort of a camp thing. So they kind of take it a little bit easier on them since they're not just fleeting tourists as much.
In 2020, wasn't there a period of time where it was like, maybe it was basketball, maybe it was baseball, I don't remember. It's like all the games now take place at Disney World for a few months.
I don't remember that, but again, I'm not big into sports balls.
Neither me, but I just remember it being like, oh, here's a weird, thing where they have done this different
I left in 2016 though, so I would have been completely off my radar by then.
Right. Anyway, yeah, this is just, it's almost like the corporate board just required that this movie be made because this probably is Pixar's biggest moneymaker after Toy Story, right? This is the second big engine.
This one, they definitely need to have a really great Cars 4. Otherwise, this one will feel like they were just kind of milking it a little bit. And there's even like a meta reference in here where Lightning McQueen is being bought out by this like billionaire car, Mr. Sterling. But Mr. Sterling really just wants to put Lightning McQueen to retirement and just put his name on a whole bunch of products and sell them, which is kind of what Disney is literally doing with this movie. So there's this fractal nature that Cars 3 is representing the actual Cars 3 in our shared real reality on top of like their own fictional reality.
I had the dark conspiratorial mind watching this, thinking of like, well, why don't they just kill Lightning and then he'll make so much more money? Think of all the musicians, like Whitney Houston, kind of weird, suspicious deaths. Her catalog is suddenly worth so much more. Michael Jackson, Prince, all, they all just kind of seem to really do well for the company by dying.
Can you kill a car? Because there's almost like the ship of Theseus problem with cars, right? And planes, they made this note that there was a certain plane that had this special part that if you couldn't find it, the engine wouldn't start anymore. So it's almost implying that if your engine doesn't start or if you can't rebuild the engine, that's, I guess, like your first death. And I assume there's like a Coco second death somewhere after that. But like that's how you die in the Cars world, is that if your engine breaks and can't be repaired. But I don't think that any car that we've seen in the entire Cars universe would really be in that same predicament. Definitely not Lightning McQueen. Lightning McQueen seems like he's got all the repair parts you would need for the next century.
Oh yeah. Well,
so then he can't really die.
It's like the rich guy, you know, that has his personal clinic, right? Which eventually murders him, so he's worth more money for the company.
Well, and also in a pit stop, what's really happening there conceptually in the Cars universe? You drive up. What are they taking when they take off your wheels? Are they ripping off your arms and legs and stitching new arms and legs to you, and then like, okay, go run?
I mean, don't they say that humans, like basically all of our cells are different, like 7 years later? Like any cells in my body now are not the same ones that were there 7 years ago. You know.
I mean, sure, but I think like the neural connections still exist, even if and like your bone is still there, even if what makes up your bone kind of gets replaced over time. But yeah, there's some people that like their bones and teeth are now all Taco Bell.
But when they make it to Thomasville, North Carolina, by the way, I was going through a wiki and it said Thomas. Oh, okay. Yeah. Your town, Thomasville, Georgia, and I looked that up, and that's way south Georgia. No mountains, no Smoky there. So it does seem that Wiki messed up in that case, and it should be Thomasville, North Carolina. But anyway, they get there, and it's like, oh, Smoky, good, you're still alive. Oh, all these old racers are still alive. So how they do die, because Lightning and Cruz were somewhat surprised that they were all there and alive.
Well, and also Doc is dead.
Doc is dead.
I mean, so you can die, but how did Doc die exactly? Because Doc doesn't have a part that you couldn't
Lightning murdered him.
Right. Well, I mean, my mind goes directly to like the Brave Little Toaster, that I guess if you got into the big trash compactor and they smushed you into like a little cube, technically that would be death. But even then, you might just be imprisoned in a tiny little cube for all eternity. You're not actually dead.
What happened with Doc? We're like, don't drive over there. And he's like, I'm going to drive over there. You know, I think your engine thing, I think when the engine is just beyond repair, you are now dead, or you have a horrible car accident. Well, didn't kill Lightning, right? They fixed him up.
That's what I'm saying, man. That if you start applying that, because race cars blow engines all the time. Are you telling me that now in like real life, we convey this in real life, that it's the number, really? It's the number that gives that car, and sometimes like the body style, but all of that can be replaced. If you're the number 51 car, you can change your body out, you can change your engine out if you want, you can upgrade your engine, swap out what tires you're using, the frame can be scrapped. Like I'm pretty sure that there's no regulation that's like this has to, like as long as you're within regs, you're allowed to kind of change your car up. So is like, I want to know how a car dies. I want to see a car die slowly animated in the Cars universe, just to see how the mechanics of life end.
This one also has a lot of the sports cars being in primer a lot of the time, right? Just like gray, which I don't recall that being a part of previous Cars movies. And I don't know. I'm not a sports guy, so I didn't know that's how it worked. And that felt like just slightly weird.
Well, I don't know if that's a sports thing. It's just like if you ruin your car and you need to get a new paint job, then you basically put primer over everything so you can start back from like a base coat so everything's even again. But again, like I wonder how far they're going to push this correlation between injury in the Cars world and injury in the human world, because I guess having primer on is almost like someone ripped your skin off and you're waiting for your skin to regrow. So we're like waiting for scabs to show. Or maybe I'm thinking too much about like a 1-for-1 correlation here.
Things work differently in the car. Well, obviously they work differently in the Cars world, but I mean, there are just so many holes. Like when they go to the bar, and we notice this in Cars 2 when they go to the hotel, and it's like, well, it looks kind of like a hotel, but it's really spacious and weird, so it can't be from the human world previously or anything. And in the bar here, it's like, well, this obviously can't. I mean, one thing, it's like 10 times larger than a normal, countryside bar, right? So how does a little town have this massive structure for water holing?
And you'll go into one of these buildings and cars, and they've got like these glass walls, and I'm just thinking, like, who installed that glass wall there?
How did Lightning McQueen fix his trophy? Right? Because it looks like someone has tied jury rigged tied a knot around it to fix him. Like, we didn't have hands. How did that happen?
I don't know if we're ever going to get answers to any of this, but I wish we could.
See, that Toy Story, at least you can think about these things and come to a conclusion. Cars, you're like, well, I guess I'd stop thinking about it or I drive myself insane.
And maybe that's why I like it, is that there is a level of Cars that you absolutely cannot get into the Cars universe without just turning a part of your brain completely off. There's just a part of it where logic is just never going to connect, and I think that that's maybe part of some of that original Disney magic. Like they're missing the proxy. If you figured out a way to get the proxy into Cars, but then you have to again explain, like, how did mommy and daddy die? How the hell did Doc die? Like that, it is of paramount importance to know exactly how Doc died in order to have a proxy to set up for later. And we have a small semblance of that because we've got some family childhood trauma where Cruz, the trainer, who's this girl that wants to be a racer, is kind of training McQueen, and then eventually she becomes the new race car and takes over McQueen's place. But she's talking about, when I grew up, my parents told me to dream small or not at all. And then she wanted to go and be a racer, but her parents just did not sort of like back her at all. And she didn't have the confidence that McQueen did until he kind of gives it to her and she becomes this race car driver. But I'm just thinking, like, this girl had this like horrible upbringing and her parents were basically not supportive of her at all. And this has lasted into her Cars adulthood. Where are her parents at now? Did her parents die? How do Cars die? It always leads back to that same question.
And her intro felt, when you think about, if you want to put thought into that, it becomes uncomfortable because McQueen meets her, goes into her office where she instantly puts him up on a platform, has his tires removed, and then it's like, name your tires. Like, that's like what BDSM stuff, right?
Me, my main didn't go there. I was actually thinking Full Metal Jacket. This was like name your rifle.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, I'm throwing in the fact that isn't removing someone's tires like without their consent pretty intense?
But she didn't do it, like the machine did it.
The machine did it, but she was certainly instigating it. She hit the button that had the machine do that, right?
I mean, but this is the exact same thing that happens at a pit stop. So does that mean every time you go through a pit stop, then you're just getting reamed?
Well, that's with consent. He knows what's happening in the pit stop. This is like being trapped and saying, guess what? You don't have tires anymore. You're stuck here. You have to talk to me now.
So what would be the human equivalent of someone just like entering a locked car without consent?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you go into someone's office and suddenly it turns into like Hellraiser, I guess that's where I was thinking, like, you know, Cenobite in your face.
Yes, that's his workplace, so that would have been like an HR issue.
Yeah, but my workplace isn't allowed to like take my arms and legs, you know?
You have to take your shoes off when you go inside of a Japanese school?
Yeah. Yes. I'm weird. I won't put slippers on. I'll just walk around in socks, even in winter. But
does anyone go straight barefoot, or do you have to wear socks?
Students do. I've seen some students in the middle of winter going straight barefoot. I'm like, yeah. Like, hey, that's their choice, isn't it?
Okay. I feel like if I ran that school, like no one's putting bare feet on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was, even when I went back to the States last year, I was like, yeah, my daughter, I didn't know what to do in the house I grew up in. I'm like, I feel like I should take my shoes off, but I don't know.
I guess, yeah. I mean, the equivalent there is, in the Cars universe, are your tires your shoes or are your tires your feet?
They're your feet because you can't move without them, right?
But so, like, what would the axle be? The axle is like the bones and the legs, but then the hubcap is the ankle. Or, I mean, again, maybe I'm going too much for a 1-for-1, but this is the only way that I'm ever going to be able to understand any of this.
See, you like it more because of that. That keeps me up at night. I like, that's where I prefer the Toy Story one is your clockwork model, right? Where everything kind of connects and you can make sense out of most of it. Where Cars is just a weird abstract piece of pottery. It's your ceramic model. In life, I do like our ceramic model if we're doing Alan Watts there, but yeah, I don't know. In terms of movies, you kind of like to have the rules of a weird world sometimes in a movie.
I feel also the Toy Story universe is just inherently and like intuitive to understand how everything works. It's just they're just little miniature people that are made out of plastic, but everything else, morals and murder and injury and birth and death, all kind of works the same. Maybe not the birth part. I guess we haven't got to that in Toy Story yet. maybe in Toy Story 5, we'll see a live birthing process. I imagine it's probably more like Chucky being birthed and melted and formed and everything. But when you get to the Cars universe, none of that applies, man. I don't know really how to personify a car, like an anthropomorphic car. And they're doing it well. They're doing it way better than I think anyone could do. But even as a kid, I mean, I could imagine my action figures might come alive at night and be like having secret battles. I don't think I once ever thought like my car was going to drive around or like my parents' car had a life of its own. It just felt so utilitarian.
But it does appeal to smaller children in particular. That's this is the kiddie franchise of Pixar, basically, right?
It is. I mean, kind of, man. But like, for example, in this one, in Cars, they seem to have so much more adult humor, and I mean, like not like raunchy, but like grandpa's laughing at this because it reminds him of something, or dad. In this one, it's you go to the beach and then you drive, and it was just like, oh, that's funny because they're talking about saying the word bitch and dying in a Disney movie. And that's the only reason that phrase is funny, is because it reminds parents of profanity and death, right? Like that's why that joke is funny. It wouldn't be funny under any other circumstance.
Maybe that's the secret sauce, like we really saw in the Planes movie. We're like, oh, half of this content is actually for grandpa, right? And with
they're going to the VA. Yeah, they're going to the VA, and then they're going to like funerals, essentially.
Like this appeals to your children, but we have to get you in the theater and come back for a sequel, right? After you've seen, like, I don't know, what's some real garbage animation, Shark's Tale or something. No one's up for a Shark's Tale 2. I haven't seen that movie though, so I shouldn't throw it under the bus. Maybe
shots fired. Jeez, man, that was quick.
It just has a reputation for not being good. All right, I was just listening to people talk about like Ishtar, and I actually saw Ishtar when it came out on VHS in the late 80s and liked it. I didn't know that was a massive bomb, but there's so many people like, oh, that's the worst movie ever. Did you watch it? No.
I don't think I've even heard of Ishtar.
It's Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman, Elaine May, and just was notorious for costing too much money and then being a massive bomb. But it's not actually that bad a movie. It's got flaws, but it's not that bad. It's Cars 3 level, very different vibe, but.
So I do think the other interesting part of Cars 3 is that it's this meeting of this girl that's only lived in the simulation, and then we've got Lightning McQueen, who has never experienced the simulation. He's out in the real world and he likes to feel, dirt in his tread, or whatever they would say that would like equate to, sand between your toes.
Which did feel like a weird statement coming from the pioneers of computer generated animation, the very digital company. I was like, yeah, get the dirt between your toes, man. We couldn't animate this dirt until the past couple years, by the way.
And I really did imagine like he's not necessarily Neo, or if he is Neo, he's Neo like going and snatching someone else out of the Matrix for the very first time. And she has to break her programming, and then she becomes the new one. Like Cruz is basically the Neo in this particular Cars 3 movie.
Well, I think
I guess that makes him Morpheus, right? So Lightning McQueen is Morpheus and Cruz is Neo.
Right, because they make it clear Morpheus used to be the top stuff, revolutionary guy. And
oh my God, this makes even more sense, because that means that Morpheus's trainer or Doc's trainer would have been like the old lady, like the Oracle or something.
Now the catch is, think about this Matrix sequels where Lawrence Fishburne's still in the movies, but Morpheus doesn't really have much to do in those movies. He's kind of done his thing already by, cracking the Neo, that was the thing. After that, he has very little purpose in the movies.
I think there's a strong connection building here too, because the only thing I can remember from, I want to say Matrix 3, is that freaking scene with the cars where those albino dudes are like jumping around on top of car hoods.
The second one. The third one's all the mech suits and they're shooting at bugs or something.
Okay, it's all a blur then. I don't even know the difference between 2 and 3 and 4.
I'll stand up for the Matrix sequels, by the way. I like the Matrix sequels. Not everybody does.
Matrix sequels or Cars sequels, if out of the two?
Matrix sequels for me. Yeah. That said, Cars 3 did not. I like Cars 2 made me actively annoyed. Where this movie, I enjoyed watching it. Right, I had no problem watching Cars 3.
There's nothing really substantial that happens in it. I mean, I like the simulation theory aspect. I like that. It keeps making me wonder, how do cars die? How do cars feel pain? Because it's clear they have physical pain, they have emotional pain, they have the concept of death, they have the concept of birth, they even have a complicated concept of having a bad upbringing by like bad parenting, right? That all of these things are incredibly complex for a freaking movie for toddlers.
What is their physical pain though? Can they turn? Is it just for dramatic effect? Like you said, a pit stop theoretically, if they're ripping off arms and legs, that should really hurt, but they don't care. Whereas, but I just crashed. Oh no, I'm this crazy redneck school bus is going to drive over me, and that hurts.
Well, and plus when they get pushed up against the side and you can see the sparks flying up, they're wincing. And wincing is sort of like a natural reflex to deal with pain, right? Or some kind of an injury. So it feels like they have to have a nervous system. They have to have some sort of feedback that causes them pain in order for them to have any sort of self-preservation, right? Because if you didn't have pain, then they wouldn't mind just crashing into each other all the time.
I mean, we just covered all of Ava, and with the Avas now, I'm just like, they're a big gory mess under those chrome shells.
That makes sense too, man. Maybe cars are kind of like Avas, that they're all like the mother and they have their child inside of them. So there's like a little Shinji or like a Ray that's like crying inside of there.
If you want to get into Mater, it gets really depressing. There's a sad story inside Mater.
It's just a real Larry the Cable Guy in there.
Radiator Springs is a kind of a albatross on this franchise's back. I mean, California Adventure has built Radiator Springs as their Cars land, so it's kind of like key to the brand now, right? But there's really no point to again, the whole point of the first Cars is Radiator Springs is in the middle of nowhere where nothing happens. So it's like you have to keep including these characters and just have random shots back to Radiator Springs. Like there's a lot of times where it's like just showing people exchanging a few lines in Radiator Springs. Like, why? I don't need to see these characters. I don't need to see this place for this movie. It has nothing to do with this movie.
And plus, the most interesting part of cars in general in American car culture was the idea that you could just go out on the open road and drive anywhere that you wanted to. So staying in one place or in one town constantly for this franchise is never going to work.
Yeah, but yeah, that is maybe that's one of the reasons they did planes. They're like, if we start over, we're not stuck with Radiator Springs. And the sequel went to a completely different place and never went back to the old places. Those movies just had the problem where they weren't that good.
I feel like this series, it's getting old enough. When was the very first Cars movie? Do you remember?
2006, 5 or 6.
Okay, so we're 20 years in. So that means that somebody that watched this as an 8-year-old, right? Like they're technically old enough to now have an 8-year-old in the next 5 to 6 years, depending on how early they went all out. But that means that like generationally, every time like another 20 to 30 years, like a generation's 30 years, right? So every time like a full generation passes, you get to have adults watching Cars because adults want to watch Cars, and it doesn't have to be directly marketed to their children anymore. So now like it could be adult folks. So anyway, I'm saying that we're at some point we're going to see 2 cars bang.
But Pixar up to Cars was always considered to be the animation that adults would also see, and still to a certain extent, I think has that reputation.
It feels like
more likely to see Pixar than a Disney now, even though you can barely distinguish, say, Zootopia from whatever the newest Pixar movie.
So Zootopia is a great example here because I feel like Zootopia, at least after the first movie, I haven't seen the second one yet, but it established it in that if animation doesn't turn you off, like there's a legitimately good movie here that doesn't have to be kiddie. It doesn't have to be something that you tolerate because you needed to bring your kids somewhere to do something for a Saturday. Cars has that feel more to it. It's like, I guess if I've got to go and entertain the family with a movie, then there's at least a few different little things in here for me to identify with. Zootopia is completely different. Zootopia is like a full-on movie.
Yeah, Cars 3 is also a little weird. It's like the Pixar crew like dealing with John Lasseter's abandoned toy, right? The original Cars was because he had a car, this weird, like almost boy-like car obsession himself. Like he directed Cars 2 after, already taking helm of all of Disney. He's like, no, I still want to make Cars 2. Cars 3 is out of the company now. So it's like playing with the old boss's toy or something,
Maybe he's inside Mater.
He's hugging Mater. He's hugging Mater without his consent. That's what's happening.
So I don't know. What would you like to see in an escalation of Cars? Like in Cars 4, what do you think? Because the first one was definitely exploring a little bit. The second one was they went worldwide. Now the third one is we're actually going to talk about childhood trauma and injury and retirement and death. Like it's getting kind of complex. So like, what do you think 4's got in store?
Well, here's the Fast and Furious conundrum. Does the movie have to be about racing? 1 and 3 are very much about racing. 2 kind of, but it's got more all that spy stuff. Fast and Furious, it's like they always have to throw in like one race scene just so we remember that the series is based on cars in the end, right? Now they're doing all the crazy spy stuff.
I want to see more crime and black market stuff because I think we saw that with like the racers where they were racing, and then there's police were way bigger in the first Cars, right? Police was like a huge aspect of the entire premise, is that Steve McQueen wasn't allowed, or Lightning McQueen wasn't allowed to leave town essentially for legal problems.
Maybe one of the issues is with Cars, Lightning McQueen's story is super over now. I mean, there's really not much to do with it. So what do? And 2, they're like, I guess we go on Mater, which people like me are like, please, no more Larry the Cable Guy. So Planes is like, okay, let's try doing something completely different. So it is definitely like, I think they have to completely flip the book, and they just haven't quite figured out the right method for that, which is why there's not even a Cars 4 on the books right now,
I've got a free tip that I think would do really well, and you're not going to like it, but I think you lean all the way into Mater, but maybe it's Mater as a baby, or it's like Mater's grandpa growing up.
Then you get to sell the toys of Little Mater,
Little Mater, but also because, again, if you go to the roots of American racing culture, a lot of it was outracing. We brought this up in the first episode, that it's about outpacing the cops because you're basically bootlegging alcohol. And in order to get around prohibition laws, you'd have to be a whole lot faster, or at least you've got your own like moonshine operation. And that's kind of where a lot of this like American muscle car culture came from. It was, can I outrun the cops? And I feel that would be such a fun addition. If Cars 4 was, they're all trying to smuggle alcohol illegally and avoid the cops, and maybe there's even some shootouts.
Yeah, there has been a animated miniseries of shorts since called Cars on the Road that came out about 3 years ago, it looks like. Probably not good, although this at least piques my attention. Concepts for the episode include stories which pay homage to films such as Mad Max and The Shining. Okay, I mean, that at least gets my attention.
Did you just say that there's a Cars episode with an homage to The Shining?
That's what it says here, but I have not seen this episode. So, yeah.
Well, I think I know something that might make its way onto our list at some point.
The Hotel, maybe it's that one. I mean, I'm just guessing. There's one with Bigfoot. Hey, you might be like fully Cars pilled, man. There's one.
I think we might have to go down a whole Cars route.
Mater meets a group of investigators searching for Bigfoot. Fear of clowns. Lightning is hesitant.
Oh my god, that's so clever.
A car wash because of his fear of clowns.
It's so clever because Bigfoot was a monster truck in the 90s, right? Like that. I remember seeing like Sunday, and that was like one of the big names.
I see that a lot because it's people may or may not know. I teach English to kids, and we have one of the drill cards. I know it says Sunday, and it says Sunday, and I'll always say it that way. And usually by lesson 3, I just have to break out my phone and show them that clip so they get it. So I've seen that clip a lot because I've shown it to many
They
children.
hear so many American like catchphrases and idioms, and it's just completely lost on them. They're just,
Oh no, they think it's hysterical. They're like, that's like they'll just start shouting Sunday, 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 and I'm like, okay, you have to see what the reference actually is now. Because no, they already think it's funny. I'm like, you need to know the real reference if you're really going to think this is funny, you know.
and
it's
also
a fun
because
clip
you
to
would
play.
just hear it over and over again on the radio, like when you're driving around. If it was
Exactly.
there that weekend, you're hearing that commercial like 100 times.
Right. So yeah. So who knows? Maybe you're a fan of this mini series. Yeah. Well,
I honestly, I've got big hopes for it already. The 3 episodes, there's a Shining and there's a Bigfoot episode. Yeah, man, we're in. There's no way we're not going to watch that.
I mean that. So I mean, we should play a little catch up. There's also those Toy Story shorts that are probably worth maybe before the new movie comes.
We'll do those after. I want to see some Bigfoot.
You get straight to car. I assume it's car Bigfoot, or maybe it's a real Bigfoot. I don't know.
It has to be a monster truck. There's no way it's a real Bigfoot.
Oh, okay. Bigfoot is a monster truck. Sorry, I did. Spoiler alert! I just confirmed it.
Not a surprise.
Yeah, I don't think people get too enraged about spoilers from the Cars mini series that was shown on streaming.
There's at least a few out there.
There's a few out there.
Hopefully, if you know this series gets big enough, someone would be disappointed from that spoiler.
Yeah, I guess just for active Disney properties, this seems like the hardest one to navigate. A Toy Story, you can. I think at this point, it's like you can always find an angle for a Toy Story movie. You know, Incredibles, that's superhero stuff. They've only made 2 of those, also, but you know,
I think Wreck-It Ralph too. I think between all the properties, Wreck-It Ralph and Toy Story are the most flexible in terms of they can come back and have a million different storylines and brand crossovers. Cars,
but even Wreck-It Ralph has only had the 2, which I think the sequel is actually our next movie to do. But yeah, there's only the 2 of those, and that was almost 10 years ago. So Wreck-It Ralph may have maybe finished. Frozen, I think we're getting a Frozen 3, but that doesn't need to continue, except that it makes tons of money.
A lot of people like the Frozen series. I'm not going to criticize it. I mean, I think that it's perfectly serviceable. I just don't know if it is like top tier for me. But it's not a bad movie. It has a lot of the elements that I think a Disney movie needs to have, but it's kind of missing I guess it has the proxy, but it's like a late proxy.
And also it's just, that's their biggest movie of the century, really. And it's just like, yeah, but Zootopia is better, and you know, Wreck-It Ralph is better. You know, it's like,
dude, Little Mermaid was better. The original Lion King was better. Like all of the movies that came out during the Renaissance were better than Frozen, I think. That
said, I almost went to Disney Sea today, and the straw that broke the camel's back is up. Anna and Elsa's Frozen journey just went down. Single rider, you know. If that's down, I'm not going today. So, but that wasn't my love of Frozen. That was my love of not waiting in lines and using single rider.
I like Frozen the parks because it's literally like the coldest area that you can be in.
Okay, well, this is Tokyo. It's already cold in winter, so that doesn't help. It was kind of warm today, actually. I haven't even turned my heater on today, and I'm not wearing a flannel shirt. Wow. Watch spring show up, I guess. You want to rip off any radiators from this movie that we haven't gotten into yet?
I just want to know how a car dies, and I guess we might find that out at some point. We know how planes die. We know that cars can die, and we know that they can go through physical and emotional trauma. So Cars 4 has a lot to explain.
One of these other episodes has Lightning and Mater observing the filming of a zombie sci-fi film. So in that one, I guess you're going to see the cars come back as zombies. Or at least I was
hoping you were going to say a snuff film.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Mater and Lightning McQueen find a snuff film on the dark web.
Lightning and Mater make a porno. Was it Zach and Miri make a porno? Was a movie from way back when. Yeah, Cars pornography. You already mentioned that, didn't you? So
I guarantee you could search for that right now and probably find something. I'm not going to do it, but is Rule 34 the one for Nazis and one for that? Can you even do it? You know what? Hold on. I actually have to do this now. I'm not going to. I'm just going to show it, but you can just gauge.
Whenever a student says a character and they want you to show it, you do a browser search. As an experienced teacher, do not scroll down. because it will not take long to get to something you don't want.
So the very first one that came up is a mater. But man, I don't know if this works. I don't think that any of this counts, man. It's like
it's sexy mater.
It's sexy mater, but it just looks like a human body with just like random wheel accessories, and then Mater the truck as the head. It feels like Mater's not naked. Mater's just on top of a statue.
Oh, okay. So he's
you'll have to look it up yourself. But yeah, if you search for Rule 34 Mater, you'll find examples.
Oh, so that is the pornography one. What is the Nazi one that all conversations on the internet will de-evolve into talking about the Nazis?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. It's called like Zoe's Law or Sophie's
Oh, that one doesn't have a
Law.
number. I thought that one had a number too. Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But yeah. How do cars die? So yeah, maybe we have to look at the series. 9 episodes. They're called shorts. So I assume you could just knock them all out. 8 minutes running time. So you watch all of them and you just spent like less time than watching Cars 3. So yeah, we can put that on the books for sure.
Okay. I'm in. We'll call that Cars 4 for now until Disney gets their stuff together and shows us a car dying.
The corporate, quarterly meeting is eventually going to demand a Cars 4, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure that's how Cars 3 happened. I didn't see that much production. It just seemed like Disney needed to make this movie or Pixar needed to make this movie, so they did. And they did a good job with this one. I definitely did. Do I like this better than the first one? This one has the dissonance of they have to keep the Radiator Springs crew in the mix, and that I think that hobbles this movie a little bit. Where the point of the original is Radiator Springs, so I guess that keeps the first one as the upper in my book. But
I don't know if I'm ever gonna care which preference order I have for the Cars movie series. I don't know if that's ever gonna play in as a factor, or even like I mean, sure. I think Cars 1, Cars 2, and Cars 3 are all kind of equally good.
Okay. No, I've got a definite... my rank is definitely Cars 2 on the bottom, but... anything else you want to do this before we take into the pit stop and rip off limbs?
Also because technically Marvel is Disney now too, and you've got like a Marvel... Wolverine Deadpool crossover movie, right? So it does seem that we might be able to see some Disney crossover movies. That would be interesting. It would be interesting to see like a Frozen Cars crossover movie or something.
Well, I mentioned it when we did Frozen, but the idea that Anna and Elsa's parents are going off to Ariel's wedding when they die in a shipwreck. Or maybe it's that Ariel is swimming through their corpses in the beginning of that movie, something like that. Anyway, I've heard connections,
and that also they might have also been Tarzan's family, and
maybe that was the wedding, and I don't remember because it becomes that Ariel's swimming around the bones of Anna and Elsa's dead parents.
I mean, they're leaving money on the table, man, and there's so many Disney adults that I feel like there needs to be like a Disney Max, just like there's a Marvel Max.
Okay, that would be an interesting one.
You know what? People are doing it now anyways without their permission. It's crazy they don't just capitalize on it.
Well, again, we were mentioning like you get the AI versions, but those are often unwatchable. So
for now,
you're watching something that kind of looks the part, but nothing quite connects. I mean. We are getting to the point, though, where you do have to start wondering how much of these movies might actually be automated, because you go see the new Avatar and it's got the thing at the beginning. There was no AI used in the creation of this movie. But it's like, where do you draw the line when there was and there wasn't? You're using computers, Were
you micromanaging every single animator over every single frame? Do you know for a fact that one animator at some point didn't try and fix a frame by feeding it into AI, correcting a tiny little thing, and now technically you have AI animation in your movie. Even if it was just one frame among millions, technically it was AI. And I think that it's going to be a hard of a purity test. Like you're going to have to just trust someone that's like, no AI was used in any part of this movie. Like, how would you even freaking know?
Yeah, we're looking at 2017. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, they were not using AI for this. But when do we start thinking about it? Like when we get to Wish, or we're like, did they run this, through the script through Chat GPT a few times? They probably did. Why not?
I mean, it's honestly at this point, Disney is at the forefront of adopting AI. Anyone that thinks is the opposite is probably insane. They have one of the largest catalogs of footage that they could be training, that they own all of the rights to. Of course, they could easily train on all their stuff. And this might be the only way that we're ever going to get traditional animation out of Disney, is if they can refine the AI training well enough that they can pump out some of those Renaissance era movies. And I mean, if all the AI slop and I would never see AI and there's no soul, I guarantee you the second that Disney drops like a feature length blockbuster, $100 million marketing campaign movie that has AI in it, you're not going to see all this AI slop comments. Or if you do, it's going to be out of spite, not because it's actual criticism.
Yeah. It's like, what do they do? It's like, does Ed Wynn get to voice in a movie again after being dead for 60 years?
Yeah, I mean, in what can happen, 100%. But the only reason they wouldn't is if there was a focus group that was like, I don't like this for this reason. That's the only reason it wouldn't happen.
But it is like, I want to hire someone living to give an actual performance. I think it's still a reasonable.
How would you know though, man? How would you know? And you know what I mean? Like, what if they trained someone's voice and then Disney murdered them and then used that person's voice that was trained on? You would have no idea until it came out in the news years later that Disney murdered somebody.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the horrible things that they're going to do in that situation. I'm sitting there thinking, man, someone should have that job. That voicing the job someone should have. My wife, actually, she had her work thing, and they were like, oh, you have to find something new to do, because she was always translating for them. I'm like, oh, we don't need a translator anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now you can just do it on AI on you could probably do it on something the size of your USB chip.
I mean, as recently as 3 years ago, she'd show up and give me insane technical detail documents and ask me to check the English on them. And I'd be like, I don't know what these are saying to start with.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope that we're around to review. I'm sure we will. The first fully AI Disney movie. It'll probably be hybrid at first. They're probably going to start slipping it in a little bit, not mentioning that it's AI at all, just like helping ease the corners.
I'm sure we've already seen plenty of movies that were, slipping it in.
Well, I guess Marvel, technically, that the entire sequence of the Doctor Strange series, I think it was, that was entirely AI, and it wasn't even good AI. It was just like whatever they had during 2021, or I think whatever year that it originally came out.
Yeah. So we'll see with that. I guess we'll wrap up for today then. What do you want to send people off to?
Just go to paranoidamerican.com. I got a whole bunch of new projects that are already launched. You can find them on the homepage. I've got a bunch of drops that are coming out this year. The new issue of Chaos Twins with Sam Tripoli's coming out. I've got 2 or 3 Paranoid pamphlets coming out, Titanic, Satanic Panic, a whole bunch of other ones that I don't know if they'll all be out this year, but the only way I can get them out is if more people know about them and sign up for them. So go to paranoidamerican.com, grab yourself some comics, look around. You're guaranteed to find at least one thing that's going to pique your interest. So go find that one thing and click all the buttons and do all the things.
If you want to continue listening to me rant about cars, head for the Films and Filth podcast, where for the past couple of months we made it Fast Films and Furious Filth, where we did cover that entire franchise. And we just have to record the last one, and then we're done. We did them all. It's my first time through the whole franchise. So I was probably the most that didn't need to watch the entire franchise. But hey, I did it. It's done. We talked about it.
Just buy something. Buy something from Paranoid American. Just buy something. Just buy something from Paranoid American. Get some merch, buy some art. Click that link, add to cart. Say it back, need that print. Nod your head, give consent. Buy a comic, 3 or 4. Think this thought, I want more. Buy a sticker from the store. Think this thought, I want more. Just buy something. Just buy something from Paranoid American. Just buy something. from Paranoid American.
Paranoid. Yo. I scribble my life away, driven to write the page. Will it enlighten your brain? Give you the flight, my plane, paper the highs ablaze. Somewhat of an amazing feel when it's real to real. You will engage it. Your favorite, of course, the Lord of an arrangement. I gave you the proper results to hit the pavement. If they get emotional, hey, maybe your language, a game, how they playing it well without Lakers. Evade them, whatever the cost, they are the shapeshift. Snakes get decapitated, met is the apex. Execution of flame you out, nuclear bomb distributed at war, rather gruesome for eyes to see. Max them out, then I light my trees. Blow it off in the face, you're despising me for what though? Calculated and rather cutthroat. Paranoid American must be all the blunt smoke for real. Lord, give me a day away, vacate. They wait around to hate whatever they say. Man, it's not in the least bit. We get heavy rotate when the beat hits, so thank us, you're welcome. Fuck the niggas for real, you're welcome. They ain't never had a deal, you're welcome. Man, they lacking appeal, you're welcome. Yet they doing it still, you're welcome.